Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tori and today we will be setting up my bullet journal for the month of September. I have quite a few supplies that I will be using today and I have them listed on screen, and as usual, if they are still available, I will have them linked down in the description box below for you. I am trying to keep this month's setup fairly simple. I have been sick for probably about 2.5 weeks, maybe even a little bit longer than that. I ended up having a double ear infection for a while, and it took 2 full weeks for that to even stop. And then as soon as I was done with that, my kids came home from school with a school sickness, and I now have that. So I don't know how in depth I will be going with my voiceover today, or if it'll just be kind of like little bits of rambling here and there, or maybe even potentially just mostly music. I haven't fully decided yet, but I will kind of just start by letting you know what my process was for my setup this month. I really enjoyed my August setup. I really love the way that it looks, and even though I was hardly in my bullet journal for the month of August because I am still so sick, I wanted to kind of have another setup that same way. So I am going to go ahead and do another like collage-y, scrapbooky spread. I'm going to be using some washi tape and paper, but I'm not going to be using as much or go as in depth as I did for the month of August. So I'm going to be doing a lot simpler of a collage styling for or throughout all of my spreads this month. I do have a piece of patterned paper here, and this is a kind of like a distressed grid pattern paper. And this is actually a patterned paper that I created myself in Procreate, and I am just obsessed with it. I really like it. I actually created it to make kind of like little invoice cards or packing list cards to include in my Etsy orders, and I just love it so much that I decided I would go ahead and just print it out and use it for my actual setup this month. I'm also using a washi tape. I showed 2 washi tapes at the beginning of the video, but I only end up using 1 washi tape throughout the setup, and it is a washi tape from Wintertime Crafts, and I'm pulling out my brand new Collage Elements stamp set. This is a stamp set that I have in my Etsy shop, and doing the kind of collage style theme for the month of August was really the inspiration behind this stamp set. I wanted to create some of my own little elements that I thought would go really, really well with this style of kind of bullet journaling or decorating my bullet journal or what have you. So there's lots of scribbles, lots of things that are just random on there, and I am obsessed with it. I think it came out so well. I do have this, like I said, in stock in my Etsy, and I will have that linked down below for you if you're interested. If for some reason it happens to be sold out by the time you look at the link, I do have an option to turn on restock notifications for most all of my items, I believe. So that will be an option for you if you're not seeing it available right away. I am going to be using a lot of girl stickers in my setup this month. I also have a washi tape that I already cut up. This kind of like document washi tape. I had it pop up on the screen, but I already forgot what it was called. I have it up in the top left-hand corner of my screen. I really wanted to use that throughout all of my pages, but it ended up being just a little bit too big, and I was only able to end up using that on my cover page. I still really like layering that with like person stickers though, so it was nice that I was at least able to use it on one of my pages. I am just using like a regular ruled line for all of my line work this month, If I was wanting to make this even quicker than it was, I think it took me probably about a total of an hour and a half to record this setup. I probably could have made that go a little bit quicker too if I just did like hand drawn lines instead of using my ruler, because using the ruler always, for some reason, makes everything take so much longer. But I know that I sometimes already have a shaky hand, and if I'm not feeling well, my hands are usually much more shaky than they just are in general. So I decided to go ahead and just rule out all of my lines, and that's probably where most of the time spent for this setup came from, is just ruling out all of these lines. I'm just going to go with one main calendar this month. And I'm going to be putting all of my content stuff and my personal stuff on the one calendar. I really like the way that this calendar page turned out. And I really love the way that this washi tape from Wintertime Crafts looks with this patterned paper that I designed. I think they go really, really well together. And then I'm pulling out some other girl stickers. They're like Let's Play Fashion. And I think this was from Wawa Stationery on Etsy. Like I said, I will check to see if this stuff is still available and link whatever I can still find down in the description box if you want to check it out. I am going to be pulling out a little stamp from my collage stamps that says "One Day at a Time." And I thought that this stamp was perfect for my calendar page because it is specifically outlining the days of the month. And I think it'll be a nice reminder for me as I'm kind of recovering from all of this sickness to just take everything one day at a time. I am also adding just a little bit of a lined kind of element down below. These stamps were specifically designed to be able to layer beneath other images and stickers. So that's what my intention was when I was designing the stamp sets and getting everything created, if you were wondering. For my titles for the entire month, I am just going to be doing a kind of 3 dot grid tall lined box, but I'm only going to be putting the lines on the top and the bottom. And then I will be using the typewriter alphabet stamp from Notebook Therapy to stamp out all of my titles and just keep everything very simple. I have kind of like this label shape stamp on my Collage Elements stamp set, so I'm stamping out that, and I'm just kind of laying out some of these ripped pieces of paper to make sure that you'll actually be able to see these once I actually, stick everything down. And I will be pulling some up so that I can make sure to add some of that washi tape in as well. I really ended up liking a lot the way that this whole setup looked, and I was quite pleased with it. This page, these 2 pages, are going to be my orders and my currently page that I include in my bullet journal each month. They are always, I feel like, the most empty when I do my setups, but generally have just quite a lot of information on them in general. But I also feel like my habits and moods are always so full just because of how much space I have to fill up just setting those pages up. So I think I like having these 2 pages, the orders and currently page, be a little bit more empty as a kind of like a nice break in between flipping through my pages during the month, if that makes sense. I think that's probably why I tend to stick towards leaving these ones a little bit more on the bare side. So I'm already pretty much done with this page here. I'm going to add a little tiny PET flower, and then we're flipping over to my moods and habits. And like I said, these pages are quite full, usually, almost always, and today will be no different. I'm drawing so many boxes today. I'm going to be putting my headers in, and then I'm also going to be drawing a 2x2 square box for each day of the month for my mood section. And I ended up stamping the dates inside these 2x2 squares. So I will likely just choose some colors and just color those squares in. And I think that I will try again to kind of minimize the amount of moods that I'm tracking and just see if I'll be able to do that for this month. And then for my habits, I'm just tracking all of the same things. I'm tracking my long-acting insulin, reading, coming into my bullet journal and actually doing things in here, and then not spending any money. But for my calendars this month, I am just kind of outlining a calendar with boxes. Essentially, just every day of the month is just its own little one square box. And I'm just going to come in and probably color each box on the days that I actually do the thing. So I am going in and getting everything kind of stamped out. Once I have everything stamped out, I will go ahead and move forward to getting all of the decorations done for these 2 pages before we are pretty much just done with this setup. Like I said, I really ended up liking it quite a lot. It could just be that I'm just really into this style right now, and just knowing how I am as a person, I do tend to gravitate towards styles for a period of time. Essentially for like the whole first half of this year, I did a lot of drawing, and I think I just kind of drew myself out, and I haven't been wanting to do too much drawing in my journal for these setups really much at all this year, for the second half of the year so far. So I've really been gravitating towards like these collage-y styles, and I'm really, really enjoying doing them. They're bringing me a lot of joy and making me feel very creative. So I am loving this so much. I would love to know what you think of this setup down in the comments below. If you want to just leave me a comment and let me know what your thoughts are. Everything for my setup this month is very like lightly colored and beigey with like some slight browns here and there from the washi tape. So on camera, it is kind of reading a little bit lighter than it actually is in person. Everything is very like easy to make out in person, like to the naked eye, but for some reason on camera it's reading a little bit lighter than it actually does appear in person. This girl sticker here that I'm going to end up placing on my moods is my favorite sticker, and I'm like this, it's a PET tape that I cut out, so I'm calling it a sticker, but it's PET tape, and I'm obsessed with it. She's got like a little book that says journal, and then it has like a traveler's notebook and all this stuff in front of her, and I love it so much, and I think I put it on almost every single page throughout this setup, and because I really wanted to use it, but at the same time I didn't want to use it because I would be sad that I used it. But yeah, so the last thing that I am going to do before we end the setup is I'm going to pull out 2 little tiny flowers, and it's just going to be like the flower itself, not like the stemmed flower. I'm going to pull out 2 little flowers that I got as freebies in an Etsy order, and I'm going to place those on my habits page because I just kind of filled the page up a little bit too much to add another girl sticker to those pages. So I'm just going to place these little flowers down, and then we will jump right into my final flip through for this month's setup. Like I said, I would love to know what your thoughts are on this setup down in the comments below. Let me know what you think. If you have a bullet journal, what theme or style did you use for your setup for the month of September? Let me know. I would love to talk about that with you. Yeah, so that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.